Moji just stood to one side and didn't come. Stop this, man! I'm not going anywhere! This is not fun for me!
You're trying to be funny with me! Give me your phone!
I have a purpose to fulfill! Just take me! Guys, this is not what I planned for this holiday!
To my YouTube channel. I'm so happy that you guys tuned in today. Today is a very special episode. I had to go because there's a lot of moment that will happen today. Alright, so first of all, popcorn is served and healthy drinks. Now, healthy drinks because I have a very special guest who you know is an advocate for healthy lifestyle. Ladies and gentlemen, drums for Winnie! I brought Winnie back for this particular episode because we have to dissect some things that we will usually not talk about. We decided to talk about friendship. I mean, you know that we took a trip together. We went to Zanzibar and we had a really good time. You watched all that really good stuff, all our content that you loved, and thank you for loving it. But beyond the content, the dark side. Oh, that sounds very deep, but the off-cam side of that vacation, we didn't talk about it, but we have brought this episode to you to address those issues. You know, usually when you see friendship, you know, you see the, oh, friendship goes, I love you guys together. My dear, it requires work, effort, and plenty behind the scenes, conversations, and we'll be having some of those things on screen today. So welcome Winifred to the channel. Thank you. You guys welcomed her very warmly the last time. You guys are very adorable.
I love in the comment section. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for being the best audience. So we have Winifred here today and we'll be talking about everything that happened behind the scenes, during the vacation, all the issues that we had, we did have some fights.
Girl, I really remember one of the content we shot.
Yes, we're fighting! You know what, let's just get into everything. You guys, but honestly, I think we need to talk about these things because people don't talk about them and people don't see it. What you see is, we're not twins, we're sisters. Oh, chuckling, content, happy things, friendship goals. I love them together. But beyond loving us together, you must know that we work together to make the friendship work. Now, let's get started and talk about everything behind the scenes, off camera during that holiday and just generally in friendships.
Are we ready to be vulnerable?
Of course, we have to be vulnerable so that we can
let's do this.
Inspire the people who are watching. In case you're about to throw one friendship away or block somebody or write them off or what's that thing, cut them off.
No. Don't cut them off.
It's not every time you bring out your pair of scissors and cut people off. Sometimes you gotta work on yourself or on the friendship if you think it's worth it.
I agree with that. So
let's get started.
So this video is going to be going on both our channels. So it's going to be very conversational. So if you go on Moji's channel and you see the same thing, please rewatch it and learn more and more and more because there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to be sharing in today's episode. Yeah.
Girls! Are you ready to be vulnerable? I'm over ready to be vulnerable.
Girl! Where do we begin?
From the beginning.
Where do we begin this conversation?
I think the trip to so when we even to Uganda and Uganda to Zanzibar was cool.
It was very cool.
We're still honeymooning.
Yes. It was very cool. But something I would say, and I think I would open up to you at this point about it, since we're having a conversation. So let's dive into it, right? Moji calls me. Was it 4 days before? So we're traveling on Thursday, and then Moji calls me on Friday, or no, the Thursday before. Before, and said, Winnie, we need to go to Zanzibar. We need to travel. We need a girl trip.
But we had been planning it, but we just didn't have a time.
A time, yes. Okay. I agree. Yeah. So there was no time, and then she reaches out and she's like, I have to go on the 29th. If not, there's no opportunity for me to go again because, like you all know, she's a very busy person. Truthfully, if I'm being very honest with you, it wasn't convenient for me in any way to take a trip at that time because at the beginning of the year, I had said to myself that I wanted to build grand memorable experiences with my friends. At the time, I really didn't have a lot of. It was just Kisiwa, and then I'm like, I now met Moji. You people already know that our friendship is quite new, so I met Moji, and then she's giving me this opportunity to travel with her on a girls' trip, and I said to myself, okay, it's not convenient, but I'm going to make it happen. And I will say it's not convenient because before the day we traveled, I had a back-to-back shoot.
Yes, and you were finishing late.
And I was finishing 1 a.m., 2 a.m. into the night. The Wednesday before the day we traveled, I literally finished my shoot at past 1 in the morning.
Really,
and then I had to come back to my house, pack for the trip. So I was just my sleep was disorganized, my schedule was disorganized, I was grumpy, and I had to go on that trip. It wasn't convenient, but it was a sacrifice I had to make for the friendship. Not even for her, I beg.
I don't understand.
I had to make that.
Who is in the friendship? Is it not me?
Yes. So, but the point I'm trying to make here is that that's the first lesson you learn. We need to learn from this episode. It wasn't convenient for me, in all honesty, and then even financially.
I was about to say that
financially, it was an expense that I really didn't plan to make at the time. But because I remembered my goal for the year, and then this was an opportunity to make memories with someone I am I love her so much, and I cherish what we have. So I was like, you know what? The inconveniences does not outweigh what I was going to get from the trip. And I said to myself, I will make the sacrifice. So I pushed, went against all odds, cancelled a lot of things, and I said yes to that trip.
She said yes to me, guys.
I said yes to So that's the very first lesson I think that we learned from this experience, that sometimes you need to go above and beyond and make sacrifices for your friend. For her, it was she needed to make the trip. If not, she won't be able to do it again. And I considered her because she's also a very busy person. And then I said, okay, you know what? I will break my back to ensure that we make this happen, because I know it would mean a lot to her. So that's the first thing I wanted to say.
She did. So let me respond to that. Okay. In the spirit of friendship.
Yes.
So when your friend tells you that, you know, I did this to make you happy or to make you work, you should say thank you. So thank you.
Oh. You're welcome.
Thank you. And I know indeed that you actually broke your back because the ticket wasn't cheap.
Girl.
It wasn't cheap.
It wasn't cheap at all.
But I'm really happy that you came on that trip.
My pleasure.
I enjoyed it.
My pleasure. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, something else I also want to talk about before we go into the trip proper was on the trip. Like, remember, like, those of you who know me know that I don't joke with my sleep. Yeah. And then because I hadn't really slept well for the past 3 days before that particular trip, I was I was very grumpy. And
you managed it well.
Girl, that's what I'm about to say now. There were lots of unpleasant experiences. Would you know some of them that happened? Like, there were surprises to us. We're not going to mention it here. That on a normal day should have gotten me even more grumpy, more emotional, more irritable. But I said, you know what? I was going to suppress all of that rubbish feelings. I was just going to stay inside, don't come out. And I had beautiful smiles on my faces because, again, remember, it was all about making memories. It took me a lot to ensure that I was making the right type of memories with her, because she had also put a lot of time, energy, effort, sacrifice into making it happen as well. So I wasn't just thinking about myself. Now, I had to consider her feelings. I had to consider her as well. And I decided to suppress what I was feeling at the time, just so that it would be a pleasurable experience for both of us. That's another thing that I know that I learned from the trip. And girl, you have no idea how much I learned about myself.
Interesting.
From the trip.
Because so we said this is the dark side of it and the off-cam, but I'll just, of course, chip in a bit of interesting parts as well. When we were at the airport, Lagos Airport, Mohammed, you know, you just taking random shots of me, making videos, taking lovely pictures of me. I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Like, and she knew that, of course, I had to create some particular type of content. And she was just, without even asking me whether I was, even if she was carrying one bag, one hand luggage, her sweater, everything, she would make sure, go, film me. She didn't even care about her own content, knowing that she also wanted content, but she was so particular about me. And that also taught me about friendship. Just putting your friend first.
It was very important. So anyway, so the very first thing that I know that I learned from the trip was, of course, making sacrifices and then ensuring that you're showing the right emotions per time. Just because you are angry and irritable at something doesn't mean you show it. Sometimes you suppress it because you don't want to make that the highlight of the moment.
Now ruin the moment.
You now ruin the moment. So you suppress the negative emotion you're feeling and not pretend that you're happy, but just be happy. Do you understand? Like she said, I was taking pic. I didn't even know that she noticed it. But for me, I knew it was important to her for her to get that content because she was actually on it was a work trip for her as well. Yeah. So it was important to her, and I knew that this would make her happy, and I decided that I was going to do it. So yeah, that's
she was doing it all the way. Like she didn't even care all the way.
That's the very first part. Okay, so over to you. What was your own? What were your own moments?
I think I was more excited about the trip and being with you. Right? So I was just not even seeing. I was just so happy. Yes. I was so like, oh my God, because I was really worried you were not going to make the trip because of how you were shooting back to back and closing late. So I think I was over the moon just being with you and just going on it was also my first girls trip.
Me too.
I've gone on trips with other people who are not like my people. Maybe not say that, but they will watch it and say like, hey, so I'm not your person. But this was my first, closest friend trip. Girl, I mean, so I was just over the moon. I was very happy. I was like, yay. So I wasn't, I mean, they were there, but it was not important.
The one part I noticed that Moji got a little bit in her feelings, and it's totally understandable. When we finally arrived Zanzibar, and then we started the journey to the hotel. We thought, okay, in 5 minutes we'll arrive hotel. Guys, the journey was like over an hour.
1 hour 20 something minutes.
And I was just Moji started telling the driver, "Are we there yet? Put it on the map." And it was dark.
Yes, I think.
Guys, imagine going on Bini Ore Road.
That road was horrible. Like, and I started getting car sick. So I get car sick occasionally. Like, I started getting car sick.
I noticed she became
the
so
guy was.
easy.
It didn't seem like it was just there. I'm like, put it on the map because it was taking some funny routes, and I thought they were funny, but that's the right road.
That's the right road, yeah.
I think person saying we'll soon be there. But I looked at the map. Map was saying 1 hour something. I was like, we'll soon be there, please.
When she was busy doing all that, in my mind, I'm like, girl, I beg, sit down. Our angels are here.
You were so calm.
I was like,
I just wanted to get to the hotel. I think we're also tired.
We were tired.
A day plus.
We were tired. So when I noticed that she was all like, I was like, oh, should I appease this babe by telling her to calm down? If I tell her to calm down,
actually, I noticed you were a bit calm.
I was very calm.
You didn't see anything. I was like, this girl does not know that. We're just going on one.
In my mind, I just said,
Israelite journey.
I just said to myself, see, God did not tell me that I'm going to die in that place. So anything going to happen to me. Whatever happens, God will come and save us.
It was a long trip and very bumpy.
It was a very long trip. So I noticed that she got a little bit in her feelings, and now she's telling me it's her being car sick, because I didn't know there was such a thing as being car sick. So now I'm learning that there's such a thing as car sickness, and she gets car sick. So it now tells me next time I'm experiencing a car moment with her and she gets that way, I have to be understanding of her, right? So in fact, this is therapeutic though.
It is.
Okay, so we eventually got to the hotel, and then we checked in, and then it was when we were having dinner that she now loosened up. She became lively.
Like the holiday
started. We relaxed, and then eventually we had dinner. We went to the room. The room wasn't really all that.
It was okay.
It was just there, but we said, you know what?
Winifred is particular about, now I know that.
Yes.
So she doesn't mind spending 20 million naira per night for hotel rooms, because she's particular about the ambience and the space, because her house is pretty, very gorgeous, very, very. So if she's traveling, it has to be worth it. I mean, you must stay in a place that is better than your house, because I like hotels, and so it must make sense. I mean, for me, the room was just okay, yeah. But for her, she was like, nah, this one's like,
girl, for you said you gave the room 4. I mean, I gave you 6. Yes, I have it on tape. But the price that we paid, I'll give this room a 6/10.
Okay, so that price.
Moji said 4.
But it was okay. I mean, for me, I think rooms don't. I mean, I like the room. I mean, the room has to be good. But
it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter
as
much as
it does matter. It's okay, and it's not smelly.
Yeah. So we got to the room. I'm like, okay, this room, no, for the amount of money we paid,
actually,
the room wasn't giving what it should give. But again, remember, it's all about creating memorable experiences. I said, okay, no, you know what? I'm not going to show that I'm upset about this room. I'm just going to be happy and enjoy every second of it. And then we eventually went to bed that day.
Yeah.
And then the adventure. Guys, the adventure began the next day.
Oh, before then, let me say this though. You must also be very tolerant of your friends. Sure. And you were on a call.
Yes.
And because we shared one room.
Yes.
It wasn't like it was disturbing me.
Okay.
But some people would be like, why is she on the call? Why is she? No, I didn't mind. I'm like, she was happy. I like that you were happy. So when I had to take a call, I went into the bathroom to quickly go and say, I'm friends on the call. I cannot talk there. No, I didn't mind.
I remember.
I'm just saying she was talking with them. A gentleman. But I promise you, I was so happy that you were happy, because you were just laughing. I was like, oh, my baby's on the call. Yeah, just there pressing phone and just doing Instagram content and putting up the work posts I had before. Yes. So for some people, be like, but the children said I want to sleep. I didn't. No, she kept on asking me though. She asked me if I was okay, and I said I was okay because I was genuinely okay. I was actually fine. I didn't mind that you were on the call. So just in case you're not able to accommodate that, just be tolerant of your friend. She's happy being on the phone with her man, and I was on my phone.
That's a good
but I didn't mind. And if I had to take a call, I know I had some 2-3 calls in between. I went into the bathroom.
Yeah, she did.
I was whispering. I was like, oh, my friend's on the call.
She did. She did. Oh, that was thank you. I didn't remember that. But
but I just
So that's another lesson.
You don't keep complaining that why is she on the phone? I want to sleep. No.
And then I also believe that for the Moji I know now, I know that if it bothered her that I was on the phone, she would have said, girl, I beg, it's time to shut it off. Yeah, that because I was actually expecting that would happen if you didn't like the fact that I was on the phone. But since she didn't do that, I was like, okay, maybe she didn't mind.
I didn't mind.
But she was tolerating me, and that's okay.
Yeah,
because we were tired and we're supposed to be sleeping.
But you were having a good time. But I didn't mind.
Okay. Yeah. So
I had other things to do anyway.
So that's a good lesson. That's a good one. So now we are moving to the next day,
where it all started. Okay, now day 2 where it's all started. So we had a good time at breakfast.
Yes, it was really good.
We had a good time. We even liked the breakfast.
Can we talk to them about how we literally will go to breakfast late and these people have to chase us out?
We're always the last.
Moji and I will be there till
we will not be the last to leave.
They will turn off AC and say, okay, you people should be going
for lunch, please. It's time to clear out.
It was so funny though. But everywhere we went,
they knew us.
Everybody knew
from the airport. Something that even when we came back, we were like, you guys just left some days ago. I remember
everybody knew us, and that was because we were one
so
delight.
Happy.
There was a lot of joy.
Hakuna Matata.
It means no worries.
Let's not start.
Okay, so day 1. Okay. Official day 1.
What's our friend's name?
Hillary.
No, Hillary is the driver.
Hillary is the driver.
How did you forget his name? Our friend. No, that's bad.
That's bad.
We met the head of customer care or customer relations at the hotel.
Familia.
We stayed
at Milia Hotel.
Milia was beautiful, by the way.
Beautiful
very
place.
Expensive, but very, very beautiful.
Should we say expensive?
Okay,
expensive is relative. For what we got, did we get value for our money? I think we did. We now realized that we got value when we moved to the next resort. Do you get?
Is this person?
Yeah. This is not being real.
I thought we were cutting. Okay, so
this is not being real. Prosper.
Can we forget Prosper?
That's his name. Prosper was such a delight.
Wanted to hear from someone who lived in Zanzibar to say, you know what should we do? So he told us for day 1, we should do Stone Town, Prison Island, Nakupenda.
Yes, those three things.
Yes. And how are we going to get there? So we, the driver will drop us at the jetty, and then we'll then take a boat to the 3 places, but we'll start from 1. When we got there,
wait, first of all, when he was saying these things to us,
we didn't
know
the intricacies.
He didn't explain. He just said,
Winifred is getting animated. It's about to get real, guys. This is where it started.
He did not tell us that things were going to happen, how we're going to get there. He just said we'll use a boat. So in my mind, when I hear a boat, I mean nice, beautiful, gorgeous boat.
Semi-yacht.
Thank you. That's what I was expecting. So we now go, okay, let me tell the story.
We got there, and then the driver, Hillary, handed us over to a tour guide who looked very nonchalant.
Kept.
I think...
Yes.
I think we were expecting a tour guide. You know what you mean by, a tour guide? We say, welcome ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Just like, come. In fact, I was actually so absent-minded when we were talking to him and asking him what boat we were taking. Anyway, we eventually got there. As we were about to get on the boat, he was like, is this the boat we're going on? I was like, oh yeah.
I'll insert the boat somewhere if I have the clip.
If we have it, I think we made a video of it. And she was like, where's our life jacket? I mean, we should ask for that because safety is important. The guy said he was on the boat. So we believed him. And then, before then, when he started saying, this is the type of boat that some actor died on. And for me, I'm big on, I wanted us to be positive. Yeah. I'm like, first of all, that was not the kind of image I wanted. I mean, I would not want to enter that kind of a boat, but we sure got on the boat. And then Winifred went on about this guy's story, his death, and this the boat that looks like he did not have life jacket. I'm like, Winifred, don't worry, we'll be fine.
You know what made me afraid the most is the fact that this so-called
tour guide and the captain,
and the person operating the machine, don't call them a name. Those people are not sailors, I beg. The guy operating the machine, they had no value whatsoever for human lives.
They were quite nonchalant. But I think that stems from the fact that they do it every day, so they take it for granted. Like, they really took it for granted.
They weren't insistent on not wearing the life jackets.
First of all, the life jackets they gave us was dirty. Very dirty. We didn't wear them, so let's just report ourselves. So we held them just in case we had to there was an emergency and we had to wear them. But we didn't smell them, but they looked stinky and dirty and unkept, and they just, I wasn't going to wear life jackets, but we held them, right? So we got on the boat. And then, okay, we're supposed to go to Stone Town first because the waves coming there were a little high. It was very, I was like, hey, turbulence on water. I don't want a big. Anyways, but we're already on water. So we're going, gisting. Winifred was not a little. She was very scared.
Babe, see, when we first started the journey, right?
It was smooth. We saw a few boats.
A lot of boats around us.
And there was one boat that had a lot of, maybe American, I'm not sure where they're from, but foreigners. And
so that kind of like calmed me down.
But they were doing their own tour. But we're the only two. And of course, when you're on that kind of boat, you have to balance out the weight. So I sat away from Winifred, and then she was with the tour guide in quotes, and then with the sailor, whatever it is that he was. What are they called? The people who steady.
Girl, he was operating the machine.
I don't know, for my knowledge, it's called the
sailor.
Captain, sailor. But ordinarily, they're supposed to be captains. But
babe, I beg.
He didn't captain anything. Anyway, so the guy, I was there, then all of a sudden, got a bit turbulent. And then at that point, I had to leave where I was. So turbulence felt that water was getting in the boat. It was really bad. So I won't take, wait, Winifred. It was bad. Then Winifred is like, no, I don't want to. I can't do this anymore. No. Oh, by the way, so before then, it's fine. Before then, they were now talking about, so she was not gisting the tour guide about the same actor that died. And me, I believe that water has a spirit. I mean, I'm Christian, I believe in God, but I'm just like, I didn't want us to talk any negativities whilst we're on water. I'm like, can we get on land? I can give him the gist. Even me, I'll even go to the guy's page and show him, see, this is his picture. He passed away, so rest in peace. And, we're not making jokes, but we're just trying to say that this was kind of boat they were on. They didn't have life jackets. And so the memories were very fresh in Winifred's memory. In her mind.
It hurt me that guy died.
Very sad, It
really hurt me.
You know what I also remembered? I remembered that when he passed, there was a video trending of him making jokes like, if I pass, my family. And so I didn't want us to talk about anything death at all. So I was at some point when I was just in the tour guide about what happened to the guy and what, he's a Nigerian actor, quite popular, and people were really sad when he passed. Next thing, I'm hearing capside. I'm like, I just told the guy, please, can you not mention that word capside on this water? I was really getting agitated, like, can we stop? So Winifred was expressing her fear because those people were just so nuts, as in they looked like they were amateurs, but
we entrusted our lives to them, and I'm like, why would I entrust my life to this person? I have a purpose to fulfill.
Winifred was like, I have a purpose to fulfill. I cannot die. And so she went. So all that talk was instilling so much fear in me. Let me tell you guys.
But she remained.
I was so calm.
She was so calm.
I get scared easily.
She was so
calm.
But
on that boat, because I was like, we cannot die.
She was so calm.
At some point, let me be honest with you guys, it got really turbulent.
Terrible.
Like the boat was swaying left and right. At some point it flashed. I thought we were going to actually drown, but I still held on strong. After a while, I held Winifred's hand, held the talk, and I started speaking in tongues loudly. Winifred goes, stop, let's turn back. I can't do this. This is not fun for me. Her voice is high pitched, and then imagine her voice being high pitched with a lot of fear. It was scary. I was like, let's turn back. But the guy said we're turning back, but apparently we're not turning back. They kept on going.
Going forward.
Like, stop this boy. I'm not going anywhere. This is not fun for me. At that point, I just held on. I was just like, don't worry. I was kabashing.
At some point, no. Moji lost it at some point. Like, what if I shut up?
No, I didn't say shut up. I told Winifred stop because there was so much in the air. In fact, not in the air, on the water.
It on me.
Yes, I won't even lie. It was good. I liked it that she did that. And I'm like, how was I that calm?
She was calm
in the midst of that crazy turbulence. And
she was calm.
Water was getting, when I say water, like it wasn't splashes, so it was scoops of water was on the, and it was swaying, not normal sway. It wasn't a gentle sway. It was a heavy sway. And then one more thing, we looked around. There was nobody. There was nobody.
I said if we had capsized into that water, nobody would know how we.
There was no. So you know when we started the journey,
no, guys.
There was nobody. We saw boats inside. People were coming in and out.
I have PTSD just
that
thinking
thing
about
traumatized Winifred so much. Anyway, so maybe after like a couple 18 because I was checking the time, I saw land at first. I was like, okay, we're close enough. But it was turbulent till we got there. It wasn't funny, but I don't know how I stayed calm.
This girl was calm. I'm grateful that she was calm.
Because imagine both of us being fearful.
I'm grateful that
could have even killed us before.
Yes.
Before anything, that experience was not funny, but thank God we survived it. Winifred now said, I'm not going back this way. I don't care if it takes us 24 hours to get back to land. back to our hotel, call the driver. She wasn't having it. She was not having it at all. So when we got, to Stone Town, yes, and we got out of the boat, Winifred was still shaking from the experience. So we're trying to talk about it, and she was like, no. She was like, you left our lives in the hand. I'm like, no, that God is the one. Yeah. She was like, no, God thinks that we should be responsible. She was like, Winifred, I saw her in a different light. She was so angry. I was just like, we're on vacation. Because of the experience. She was like, okay, anyways, she's done for today. I can continue the rest of the trip. Go to Nakupenda. Go to she's not going anywhere again. But of course, we're together. It won't be fun if I go anywhere. And then God forbid, and I say, if something not happens, I say, you too. Your friend says she's not going. You now went. So I just said, I'm not going anywhere. Whatever we're going to do, we'll just do here. Then we'll go back to the hotel. What do you have to say?
Girl, I have a lot of tales to tell.
But no, I put it very mildly for you guys. But being on that boat in the midst of that turbulence was not funny. Winifred said, I have a purpose to fulfill. Just take me.
Guys, I was thinking about my WSC community. What did I tell God that I went for it?
I cannot die. Take us back, please. I'm not having fun. This is not fun for me. I know I'm under pressure. She went, Winifred.
I went ballistic.
She went ballistic.
And to be honest with you, I'm not the type of person.
I feel but when we were calm down, I feel you a bit when you were like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do it. She's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
So see, I'm not the type of person to express fear. I don't express fear. When I feel it sometimes, but I don't give it expression. But the reason why I had to give that one expression was because, first of all, I didn't see the reason or why like two sensible human beings, Moji and I, will entrust our lives. Moji has a purpose too. We will now entrust our lives to somebody who did not see the premiumness of our lives. This guy was looking very...
But they kept on, so they were like, don't worry, it's normal. But Winifred was like, I don't care.
I'm not going to entrust my life to you. So when we started the journey, it felt like, okay, I could do this, I can do this. Then we now got to the middle of the ocean.
Actually,
I look left, I look right, I didn't see anybody.
And it was
that was when I
large, as in, when you look at like,
there was no
if
land.
anything happened to us, we'll just go and nobody would know. Because there was nobody else.
Land.
All the boats had gone. And I just remember when the guy said that the sail shouldn't come somewhere because it was a bit turbulent, that we shouldn't sail towards that side yet. So I was just like, why did
my dear people, that was when I freaked out. I remembered my whole life. I remembered you people. I remembered her. I remembered my mom. I'm like, no, this is not how I live this earth. And if I now go, God will now say, did I send you to that water? I send you there.
This people you're seeing there,
guys.
This is like pro. That day was pro max. I mean, I'm
sorry. I'm sorry I put you through that.
It's fine. It was. So all of us had to be calm.
Yeah, she was calm though. I'm so
when I was praying and speaking in tongues, the guy was laughing
at us. He was laughing. I don't even know if he was laughing at me. He was laughing
at everything.
Because I just started blasting in tongues. It wasn't a good experience. And I'm so grateful she kept the boldness for us. In fact, and that is also another reason why you should have friends that share the same value with you. Because at the time when I lost it, my friend was there to step in for me, standing for me,
all the angels,
calling everybody, reminding me that, girl, you are a child of God. Nothing can happen to you. But me, I was like, even God wants us to be responsible.
That experience, nah.
So I think that what happened now affected us when we now finally got to Stone Town. Me, I was not carrying. At some point, I started carrying my face. Moji started carrying her face. But we still shot content.
We wanted to do that content. No, it was when we did that. Moji. So let me tell you guys, when we did that, Moji and Winnie, welcome to Zanzibar. We're not talking. She was not like, Gary, better smile. Because me, when I'm angry, I show it. You will read it from my face. I cannot hide it. So she was like, girl, you and I have to fake one smile. I was like, yeah, because we're paid. So we had to do it. So that was part 1. Now part 2. Now we had this content that we started in Nigeria where we jump over and then you transition to the vacation. That famous content. The tour guide was going to take us round Stone Town. There was a misunderstanding that happened because she thought she was talking to me and I didn't answer, and I thought she was being dismissive. So I came up with a different idea for us to do the content. I just thought of something that would be nicer, and then she was like, just show them, and I was like, friend is not even listening to me. So I got in my own feelings, plus all the water experience had.
But let me say why I said that. Okay. I'm the one who was going to edit the video, and the concept Moji was bringing was going to be very complicated, especially because those people there, those guys, I realized that they couldn't speak English, and the fact that we were already there was a lot of stress. I'm like, okay, you know what? Tell them your idea. I beg, don't put me inside the middle, because I was still suffering from PTSD.
How she said it was
it was how I said
it. Take I beg. It was not. It was like it was quite dismissive, and I felt a bit hurt. So I entered my feelings and I was sulking.
Oh, she took it off. Oh, she entered. She locked it off. She's like, I'm not coming out of
here. Do you know? We went on a tour. The tour guide must have been confused. I was like, these two people did not come together. We were walking apart. The guy was just talking. At some point, he was talking to himself. Me, I was just doing other things. We now went to sit at the restaurant.
Yeah, there was a restaurant. Yeah,
one rooftop. After we walked Stone Town. In fact, she didn't see me. She was just like, "Can we be done?" I just
wanted to go.
So
home.
At that point, we were also buying time to wait for the driver to come and pick us. The driver we came with a boat. The driver had to drive all the way to come to Stone Town to come and
it was about an hour, 30 minutes.
We should ordinarily have gone back with the boat, which was like 20-25 minutes or 20 minutes ish. Winifred said she was not going by boat, which was fair, right? So we're waiting for him. We did the tour. The tour was not touring because the guy was just talking to him. So Winifred we saw how people were doing their own tour. They sat, were taking notes. Winifred was just like,
that was a mistake we made, because Prosper, right, the person at the hotel that gave us the guy, gave us two options of either going with a company
or a private
or just a regular random private car.
Okay.
Yeah. So we now said, okay. He now told us that the company was going to be more expensive.
But funny thing, wasn't even that. The difference was
it wasn't so much. So we now decided to go with the private car, and
it was also not cheap anyway.
It wasn't cheap. So we went with the private car, and that's why we got what we got. But I think if we had gone with the company, things would have turned out a lot different. Yes.
Anyway, so we then went up to sit. We sat up at the restaurant and we were not talking to each other for over 45 minutes.
No, babe, we spoke. So when they gave us the menu to order something, and I said, "Are you ordering?" And then I was surely looking at me. I'm like, "Are you ordering?"
With an attitude, girl. No, and I was like, ordering what? I was
because I'm like, this girl is such a baby. Why is she stressing me? Doesn't she know what I've gone through? Did she know?
After you dismissed my idea and made me seem like I was saying rubbish. Anyway, by the way, so we bought one SIM so we could share. And then we also loaded the data on her phone. So she had the SIM, and so everywhere we went to, she had the hotspot. Because we're not talking, I did not have internet. I was playing games for 45 minutes. Yes. You know what I was not doing? And now increase the volume of the game so that she will see that I'm playing game, and she will actually say, let me give this girl hotspot. She don't turn on the hotspot. I was not playing. I was so angry. I could not ask her. It was not later they now give us. There was free Wi-Fi at the restaurant. But you know, you're playing game like, this girl will not sit and play. I'm not playing game. I didn't know that. I played game for 45 minutes. I was angry. I was like, I will not ask this girl for this password. I will not ask her to turn on, because I had the password, but it was not on. I will not ask her to turn on the hotspot. Oh my God! Because we're not talking, and after a while, I was not like, wait. Official day one of this holiday, and we're already fighting. I just said, you know what? I'm not going to do this. Let me be the bigger person. I said, sorry, Winifred, what's going on? Like, why? I was like, what was your response?
First of all, let me say my part. When she turned to me and she was like, Winifred, what's going on? With so much not like from a place of girl, what's going on here? Like, can you stop this rubbish? So I was like, what? Like, in my mind, I was like, no, nothing, I'm fine, I'm cool.
Yeah, that's what she said. I'm like, and I said, that's not like, I mean, are we okay the way we are? Like, how can we be on holiday and we're not talking to her? She's like, no, that's just okay.
Everything's fine.
Then she now said something like, girl, I'm not interested.
No, she asked me. You asked me.
Let's talk about.
No, are we going to finish up the content that we started?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, you're talking about content. After what I went through. Girl, I beg.
So there was also something else. I was like, can we just talk about what happened? Why are you ignoring me? They're like, girl, please, I'm not interested.
And then I told you that I was trying to, after you had tried, so this is what happened. Moji tried to pitch an idea to me. I felt like the idea was just a lot, because I knew what I had in mind about how I wanted the video to turn out at the end after editing. So when I noticed that her idea was complicated, I was like, yeah, I was wrong for brushing her off the way I did, which I eventually apologized. When I noticed that she got in her feelings because of that, I now started to draw close to her to say, okay, girl, okay, let me hear your content. Let me hear your idea. So I kept making moves. I made like 4 moves at Moji, trying to tell her, okay, now I want to hear you, because I knew she had gotten into her feelings, but she was already in that feelings. She locked the door. She wasn't going to come out.
But you know that now that she's, even when you said it, I was like, I don't remember you trying to talk to me.
Yeah,
So maybe
I even came with my phone. I'm like, okay, let's do it this way. Okay.
And what was my
Then
response?
she now ignored me completely. It was when she ignored me 4 times, and I said, okay, you know what? I know how to. You know how they say 2 can play that game. Girl, you did, I beg. So that was when me too and I got in my feelings, because at the time when I noticed that I was dismissive to her, I noticed how she took it. I was like, okay, you know what, Winifred, step back, try to make things right. And I started telling, okay, tell me the content, tell me, let's do this. But she now kept ignoring me, and I said, okay, no problem. Let's go inside and let's all be in our feelings.
We now went on the tour apart. So Togeda was talking half here, half there. We were just confused, and it was.
Then at the restaurant, Mojina came and asked. She said, "Winifred, are we doing the content?" I said, "Content. I'm not interested. I beg. I'm already in my feelings." But she was like, "We have to finish the content. We have to." That will be. I was like, "Okay, you know what?" The driver eventually now came. We now started going to the car, and then when we now got to the car, Moji said it again. Content. I was like, "You know what? Let's just go and do this."
She wasn't going to do that content.
For what?
This girl.
Me that naturally, I'm not even a content person. So because of her,
we already started this thing. Let's finish.
So I said, okay, let us go and do it.
You guys, you won't believe that when we shot that crossover, jump over, the one we arrived in Zanzibar, we were not talking. We were not talking. We just shot content and left.
We weren't talking. We eventually shot it.
So, and it required us holding hands and jumping and being happy.
Hands.
And we were happy. When we jumped over, we're like, hey, we're not talking. No.
Another lesson, not everything you see on social media you take. Some things, you don't know the back story. So we eventually shot the content, and then we went back.
It was a quiet drive home.
Back home.
I just plugged my ears. I think I even slept.
1 hour drive
like,
back.
And I was like, girl, I beg.
We didn't talk. We eventually got back. It was late.
We had 2 key cards for the room, but I think I'd put them with my phones. So it had deactivated. I had to walk back. I was so anxious. I told her that, let me just go and reactivate the card and I'll be right back. So I walked really fast. So when I got to the reception, I was trying to reactivate the cards. I think I was lost in thoughts, thinking about, this is how this holiday would just go sour and then we'll just mess up everything we had planned. And so being lost in the thoughts, and then you tapping me, I was like, geez, I was so startled. She asked me, can I have the second card? I was like,
no, I said, please leave the second card with them
because we're still reactivating it. So yeah, but pretty
still
much asking for the second card. I was like, so that's it. We have divorced.
No, I was in my feelings that night.
So I went into the room. Let me now be honest, I couldn't even tell. I couldn't call anyone because I was just like, who would I tell that? First day of holiday, we're already fighting and we're not talking. I just slid on the bed. I was just thinking of what to do. Next thing, so I think I couldn't sleep, to be fair. I was trying to sleep, but sleep was not coming. She now came into the room.
I intentionally didn't go into the room immediately. I stayed back for like 2 hours.
Yeah, she went away.
And that actually also made me understand the dynamic between a husband and a wife, when the husband or the wife will say they are not coming home. Because I don't want to go and face what I know is waiting for me in the house.
Danger.
I wasn't looking forward to it.
When she came, I think she was now on the call, on the phone. Somebody called her, right? And she was like, I'm just done with this.
You were asleep. No, you were asleep.
I was not asleep.
And then I went out to the balcony. Yes, and I was like,
yes, and then she was saying something like, I'm done with this trip.
Yes, with this holiday. No. Girl,
how was it? I got up from the bed, guys. So the room was quite big. No, it was big. I left the room. The bathroom area and the closet area was also very big. I went to the bathroom. I sat there and I cried.
Don't paint me as a villain here.
I was like,
no. When I said I was,
I didn't know who she was talking to. I was like, oh, no, don't think I'm a bad person.
No, when I said
I've lost my friend, I don't have any friend. I was.
No, sad. When I said I was done with the trip, guys, that experience on that water, I'm not joking. Us even talking about it now still gives me PTSD. That's how much that experience was.
A lot, Sha.
So I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about that experience.
So take cues from that. Yes. I didn't know she was not talking about me.
It wasn't about you.
But I mean, I'm part of the trip or part of the holiday. So it just felt like I'm done with this girl. That's what I heard. Because you know how somebody says something, but you hear what I heard was I'm done.
Because
and I
just you were in your feelings.
I was in my feelings.
But you would know the next day when we talked about it. What did I tell you? That this was normal. I expected
it was bound to happen.
That if we didn't have a fight, there was going to be something not okay.
Anyway, Sha, I cried for over an hour. In fact, I slept off in that place.
She cried.
I now came back and I was like, it's fine. I don't have any friend anymore. We'll manage it. I was just like classes. I would call the airline and say, move my ticket I'm going home. I'm done. Slept, woke up. She woke up before me. She did her thing. She was dressing up.
We are dressing up.
Singing.
So I woke up. Let me tell this part, I beg. This is my favorite part of the story. As I was in my thing, trying to look pretty for the day, like, because I was like, oh, fresh
new day, new energy.
I had gone outside took some of that vitamin C, D from the sun. Like, I was glowing, I was fresh. I was like, negative energy be gone. So I was trying to look pretty now, and then I wanted to be done, and then I'll go and tap her and wake her and say, babe, oh yeah, we need to have a conversation. That was what I planned to do. The next thing,
No, that was not what happened. Don't be, guys, no, that's not what happened. When I woke up, she was like, good morning. Of course, me, I'm still like, we're not talking. So I was like, I just answered her, good morning. Like, she was like, oh, good morning. I can't remember what she said. I said, is that how you're going to answer me? I was like, what do you want? She's like, what's wrong with you? I just went, I'm not trying to greet her anyway. Let me be honest. I was like, since you want to carry face, I've woken up with renewed energy to carry face. So she was like, she was dressing up, was like, good morning. I was like, morning. And then with no tone, like, energy for energy. She now goes, is that you going to answer me? I was like, because now I was ready, it was a new day. I wasn't interested in what happened. And I carried it over.
Moji started crying. I said, God, I beg.
Like, when you said this,
she was like, crying.
Girl, what's wrong with you? Why are you crazy? I said, okay, if you don't stop crying, I'm not going to allow you move from here. She just held me.
I held her. She said, this is not what I planned for this holiday. She was really crying. I just went. I said, I'm not leaving you until you stop crying. She continued for a bit, and I was like, see, babe, this thing is bound to happen. We are two human beings, grown-up women, confined in one room. We have hormones, emotions. We just dealt with an issue. It's bound to happen.
Yeah, I was like, Rosie, I beg. I didn't know. I was like, please, no stress on this holiday.
This is actually the whole point of this episode, to let you know that there's that side of relationships that you have to deal with. It's the hard part. So when it happened, I was looking forward to it. And I was looking forward to waking up and having the conversation with her. Like, it was important that we had that conversation. And that was what I wanted to start when I said, good morning, like, try to greet you and all. Then she now started crying. But thankfully, her cry actually also helped with the bond, because I said to people, be careful. I said to people that I was the bully on the trip and she was the baby, because Moji has a very soft heart. She has a big personality, but she has the softest heart. The smallest thing gets to Moji. So I realized that very quickly, and I said, okay, you know what, girl. So I started treating her like the baby in the relationship. So that morning she cried. I got her to stop crying. And then I think also what happened to her that made her very emotional was because, should I say it was the time of the month for her. So you can imagine dealing with
a lot of hormones.
Yeah, it was a lot. So because of that, I understood that she must have been dealing with a lot. I was like, you know what? Like, make this thing right. So I cuddled her, petted her, made her go take her bath. Then we went to breakfast, and that was when we had the conversation. We had the conversation. She told me where she thought I went wrong and what hurt her.
And she apologized, and I apologized, because again, it's not enough to talk about it. You must be sincerely sorry. And then she did, and we, of course, now we're back. Like, it was like a switch. Boom, we're back to being us. Jolly. Yes,
we did another content that day. So yeah, that was our first experience, but it taught me so much.
And one thing, One thing I also learned from this experience is when we were at Stone Town. I want to talk about it in that moment, right? And so I learned that during the course of the trip, that you all like to process things, then talk about it. I want to like now let's talk about it and move on. I don't want to drag this thing any longer. So you must understand the other person. So at some point we're meeting in the middle. So even though she was not ready to talk about it, she would just wait a bit. I mean, not as long as she would have wanted to wait. I'm like, girl,
you're spot on.
These things should not drag a beg.
You're spot on. Yeah. So yeah, that was that experience for me. It taught me a lot. And one thing I know for sure that experience did was it brought us closer.
Yes.
It brought us closer because because of the way we eventually handled it. Some people would have said, you know what, that's it,
the end
I
of
beg,
it.
What's all this?
Girls actually split on
Because
holidays.
of stuff like
friendships
that.
actually break from holidays.
But we remember the value that we had, like how much we hold the friendship, how important it is to us, and we said, no, this fight we have
cannot even be it's not possible. And I think for me also, right, what helped me is I prayed for Winifred. I prayed for this friendship to come, and I was like, God gave me this friend. I'm not going to just throw it away because of ego or anger or a little misunderstanding that we can easily resolve. We're still going to have more. And it's not a curse.
Yeah,
we would have more misunderstandings.
Yeah.
It would happen because friendships in like 50 years friendship, they'll still argue. You get. So I was like, I'm not going to throw it away. So I was like, God gave me this friend. I have to give myself brain and not just discard it because of one tiny, she ignored me, she dismissed me. Okay, we talked about it and we moved on.
We apologized. But that was not where it ended, though, guys. Please.
You would think that after one fight we'll be done. We're not done.
Me and this girl were like husband and wife on a trip. You know, husband and wife that just met each other and they're just
honeymoon phase and just like
they are nonsense.
So I think the next one happened turtle. Okay. So you would narrate this one.
Guys, the next one was, so after the whole water thingy, any activity that we wanted to do, the first question I will ask is what? Does it involve water? So Prosper came again and said, okay, these are the activities that do not involve water. The first one was us seeing the swimming with the turtles. So when he said swimming with the turtles, what I expected to see was clear blue sea
with turtles in it.
Then you have like an ocean, and then you have sit down areas where you can just relax, sip margaritas and stuff. This girl has dreams. I mean, in Zanzibar, that's what we see on the internet, Abby. We now got to the place. I'm like, sorry, swimming with the turtles. Is this it? It was cool. I mean, it was cool. Nice, but for me personally, guys, I'm extra, I know. I wasn't going to swim in that water because one, I thought that the water was stagnant. There were lots of people in it. I'm like, everybody's body has entered. So I'm like, from the very onset,
it was like a pond, like a pond. It was not flowing.
It wasn't flowing. So from the onset, I said to myself, I'm not doing this. Don't worry, I will be a spectator and watch and take content. Moji, I could tell clearly she was divided. She wanted to do it. At the same time, she didn't want to do it, but she wanted to do it more than she didn't want to do it, like go into the water and swim with the turtles. So when I noticed that she really wanted to do it, and after I said, okay, you know what, we are going to do it. I was going to encourage her to do it. So I pulled her from the top where we were. We now got to the foot of the
bank area
of the water where you could actually go and have the experience. Oh yeah, now Moji, go and touch this turtle. And all I wanted to do was actually just make videos of her and make content of her doing it so that at least she can have that memory
documented. Mm-hmm.
Sister went 360 on me immediately. This girl she was so afraid of the turtles.
I was.
You see that water one? Okay, this is where the tables turned. You see how I was afraid of water? Babe, I was afraid of turtles.
No, but so funny thing, when my friend had called and said, "I because that they actually bite." When we now go there, remember that woman that was saying they actually beat her because she was feeding them. She was supposed to drop it, but she was holding on to their food, and so they grabbed it. They reached out for the food and grabbed it and then beat her, and she was in pain for a while. So I was really scared. I was like,
guys, for context purposes, we had children right at the center of that pond playing
in that instance, they were not my mates, they were my seniors in the water.
It started as me trying to like cajole her, babe, go now, we smile, go now.
She said, go in Jesus' name.
And I said, enter, like do it, let's take the picture and go. So 5 minutes later, we're still doing go now, 10 minutes, go now, 15 minutes. At 20 minutes, I'm like, girl, I beg.
I enter this thing.
I'm like, go. At some point, I pushed her because I'm like, how can you, a whole grown woman, be afraid of turtles that are supposed to be afraid of you? So when I now realized that she was really, really fearful, I said, okay, you know what? I pulled off my shoes and then I entered. She didn't want to go in,
she had to go because knowing if I saw her in, of course, it would be easier
for her.
So it was actually easier for me.
She wanted this thing and I wanted it for her. So what she was doing, I won't lie, it was getting to me. Girl, I beg. I was like,
Winifred was stressed.
Can we get over with these things? When I knew she wasn't going to do it alone, I said, okay, you know what? The only way to get her to enter was to enter. Hopefully she would enter. So I removed my shoes and got into the water. Then she now came. She became a little bit comfortable. We took the pictures, did the videos. I was like, okay.
Now went to another side.
No, before we went, I said, okay, Moji, do it yourself. She would have already entered. Now, of course, I wanted her to do it alone. So, and I said, do it yourself. So everything I did, I was doing for her. Now, remember this statement I just made. Everything I did, I was doing for Moji.
I will hold it in my left hand.
I was doing it for her. So I now eventually tried to get her to get into the water and do it by herself, which she did, but she was still doing all them. Oh my God, I beg this baby. Anyway, she eventually did, and I took a picture of her. We're going to put all that clip on the screen. And then I took a picture of her, and then she did. And then the guy who was helping said, there's another part of the place where
it's not as congested and...
Babe, tell that story. Yeah, tell
where
it.
it's not as congested. So we went
tell
there.
It because you're the one that got upset at that point.
And then we went there. Mm-hmm. So when we were there, one of the... So here, the trick is when you throw in their food, they all come in a cluster and then they come to you. So we wanted that whole... we wanted it for pictures. It was nice because they would then come, gather around, try to struggle for the food. So one of them had creeped up behind Winifred and scared her, and so started her butt. So she reacted, but me, because having her beside me gave me confidence. I was okay. But me, I was still scared. So at some point, one of them flapped their wings. I don't know what they thought it was his wing on me, and swiped. I was not little. Swiped it across my leg, and I screamed. My scream scared Winifred, and then she snapped at me.
So let me tell you why I snapped. So you didn't know, but where we stood was a step, and if I had moved just a little bit, I would have fallen down. It wasn't a leveled ground. It was.
So I didn't know that. Yeah. So when you snapped at me, of course my mood changed because I was like, "Why are you snapping at me?" After all the going that I've been pushing, I finally am in here, and these people, the wings. I wasn't sure it's very sharp.
Yes.
So it went across my leg. It wasn't like it was piercing, but I just felt it and I was scared. So she now snapped at me. So the guy was still taking pictures. And then I got out of the mood, and then we smiled and we took more pictures and we left. We're now going to Nungwi Beach. This was where the fight now happened. So it wasn't even the snap. The snap, of course, got me to frown, but it wasn't an issue because in 2 seconds.
But I want to say that the reason why I snapped was actually because of that. I'm like, girl, you want me to fall into the water? Can you get yourself together?
You explained that.
Yes.
When we now go in the car, we're now going through pictures like, look at you here. And then even the whole part where she was pushing me, go in, you can do this, girl. I'm going to my if you don't go now, it was funny.
We were laughing.
We saw pictures. There was not a picture of me frowning where we're together. And I said, this was where he snapped at me. I just was showing her innocently that she was like, yeah, because you were being irritating.
Yeah, she was.
That word irritating. I was like, why would you say I'm being irritating? Because I'm afraid to go inside. And so I was angry. She's like, but girl, you were being irritated. I was like, stop saying it. She was like, what you? And she kept on saying it. Yes. The more she said, the more angry I got. So I just kept quiet. She now said, okay. She now got angry too, and they said, okay, no problem. We now, as usual, started going to the car and sat apart. Now, when we left the hotel, we had carried 3 beach hats that we would choose which one to wear. We didn't have one extra in case we want to just leave in the car. And I got there, knowing that Winifred's head had already tweaked a bit. And I asked her, I already knew the answer. I said, which of the hats? She said, I don't want any hats.
Why would you be telling me
I
about
just
hats?
carried my hat, wore my shades, and plugged my ears. And then I was on my phone. I was just listening to it. I just wanted to distract. I'm like, not today. Not today. So we got there. As we got into the beach, one guy was trying to stop us to explain how things would happen and the activities that they had at the beach. So the guy was just talking.
We're still apart.
And apart too. This girl. So after a while, the guy was now leading us to, I think, the stable where the horses are parked. Then as we're going, she now said, not today, we're not going to fight on this at this beach.
I said,
me, straight face. I'm like, no, that irritating you said, you must take it back. You see, I'm being irritated.
I said, no, we're not going to fight.
She now put out her phone. I said, guys, I'm reporting Moji to you.
Yes.
But somehow, shall we just laugh it off?
I had to hold down. I was like, come here.
I was like, no, no.
I wasn't even laughing. I was so serious. Like, we can't. I said, hold my hand.
Yes. Let me not tell you how serious she was. The guy that was leading us was now asking if I was her daughter. If this was yes. To show you how she was speaking to me. Winifred was a bully on our trip.
Yes.
Because I was like, is that your daughter?
People remember the goal of the trip was to have memorable experiences. Mm-hmm. My trip was not going to be filled with fights. So I said, no, this one I'm not letting it.
She just held my hand. I was like,
Moji, hold my hand. So we are working together. We would love to get home.
And then we had the most fun that day. Like, we had such a good time.
The most beautiful time on that beach. We danced with the locals. We did the
kayaking. We did the drone video. We've not released that video.
Why
are you holding it?
Girl, it's you. We are waiting for you to collaborate. But yeah, that was the second experience. But I think that the first experience we had helped us navigate the second one faster. Like,
yes.
we weren't going to let it linger. And I don't think we ever had any other issues after that.
So we moved to a new resort. We left Milia and then went to Kiwengwa Beach Resort. That's where we stayed till the end of the holiday. Me, I like to do things together. I'm like, let's go together. But she's like, I'm not going anywhere, because the first night we went there, food options terrible.
It was not nice.
That was horrible.
It was terrible.
We said, okay, let's give them benefit of that. We went in the morning. It was even worse. It was actually worse in the morning for breakfast. So we're like, we're not eating in this place again. But when we went out and came back, I was like, I'll still go and check. So she didn't go with me. I was not happy, but I was like, no, she was tired. She was already cranky, but I had to understand that it's not every time you do together. Because me, I'm like, I'm team. We must go together.
Moji's twin.
I'm very
Moji made us twin throughout.
Outfit-wise. I'm very, my friend and I carry my friend. I'm like, nope, we have to. But I eventually learned that she didn't want to go, and so don't force her because she will get cranky. And Winifred likes her sleep, so if she does not get a particular number of hours, the
next morning I get and that's actually something I wanted to point out. Sleep for me is important. I go to bed at 9, wake up at 3, sometimes 4. And if I don't get that number of sleep, I also notice it on that trip that anytime I don't sleep well, the next morning I have an issue with Moji because my emotions are all over the place. I'm cranky because I didn't sleep well. And that is also taught me that this sleep thing that I do is actually has become I've mastered it so much so that it disrupts my entire day when I don't get that sleep. Yeah. And then another reason why I didn't follow you is I don't like to put myself through suffering. That food was suffering to me.
Funny thing, it now got better.
When I didn't come.
Yeah, it didn't go
better.
But
I don't like suffering. If I've done it once, done it twice, and I didn't enjoy it, I'm not interested. So I was like, I'd rather starve than go there and eat what they had. But I didn't know you got upset that I didn't follow you.
Not upset. I wanted you to, it was better. I like my friend and I.
Yeah. So I don't think we had any other issues after that.
No.
Then Moji got surprised by some... They reached out to me to surprise her. We planned that we went to the rock. We had a good time at the rock. Oh yeah, nothing else. And then
it was the day we were going. Something was going. It was an impending issue, but it didn't impend.
Okay, remind me.
Because I had now learned. Let me tell you, I had now learned how to handle Winifred.
Okay.
So when we checked out of the hotel in Uganda, and we were going to check. No, we're not going to check. We're going to board. We're going to the lounge.
Okay, so coming
when
back
I filmed
after
that security dog.
Yes.
So we're going into the airport, right? And me content too, and I didn't even mean anything.
Know,
so I was just doing content.
I didn't even know she was taking videos.
I made a short video just to do just random content. The guy, one very short, angry
An immigration guy in Uganda.
Yeah, in Uganda was so when we were about, he had passed us. I said, no, two of you come
back here.
She was filming, but she was filming only the airport. Like she didn't even just the top of the airport. And I was filming security dog for content. So the guy now says, can he check our phones? I knew what he wanted to check to see if we said no. He said, am I on any of your phones? She was confident in her no. Me, I was not, because I feel like a part of him had shown when he was holding the dog. So I was like, I was trying to be funny. So I quickly took my phone. I was like, I was trying to give him, but I was quickly deleting. My deleted folder is passworded, so he wouldn't have had access to it. So I'm sure he's smart. He knows that people have done stuff like that. He's immigration, he's done psychology things. So he knew that I was withholding my phone for some seconds to try to delete it. So he gave her back her phone and said I had deleted. I was like, that. And I said, okay, because I was like, there's no point arguing with this guy. He knows what I did. I said, that I made a video, but I've deleted it. Then this guy
he got mad.
Switched.
He got
just
mad.
Went from 0 to 100, literally.
He got mad.
And then he was like, you're trying to be funny with me? Give me your phone.
So he collected her phone.
Collected my phone and said, I'm going to make sure I miss my flight. Like, there was no reason for that. So my outfit had Petals Lagos. So one guy saw Lagos. I said, are you going to Lagos? I said, yes. So that means you're on my flight. And then says, what's the problem? And then I explained to him, and he's like, there's a security officer too in Nigeria, so he knows that these people can be crazy. The guy just starts going, as in, he was going gaga, haywire, like there was no,
because I immediately he
so he took my phone.
I ran after him. I'm like, please, I
so he took my phone, and then I was just calm because he was saying things that were unnecessary, like, I'll make sure you miss your flight. Who do you think you are? And it was I had not said sorry, but I just said I deleted it already. So he said, took my phone. I said, I'm not going to go on that flight, and they'll make sure they ban me from coming through this airport
to Uganda.
So the guy was not like trying to beg him, but before then, Winifred was also trying to talk to him, and he was like, no, see, she cannot come and beg. it was just being funny.
So his problem was that Moji didn't come to say sorry at the time she was.
But he was irate. That was for me. I wanted him to calm down because the emotions were
all over the place.
It was not. He didn't even realize what had happened. I deleted the video. I showed him my phone. So Winifred now just goes, keep your ego and come and beg. At that point,
I don't say keep your ego. I said just come and say sorry.
No, say something about no.
I never said ego.
You did.
Girl, I have videos though.
No, you were not.
I never said ego.
You did. I remember. You were like, keep the damn ego. Something about keep the ego and come and apologize to him. At that point, I was actually upset. I was like, Winifred, I'm going to, but in the midst of all that guy shouting, I'll make sure you miss the flight. I'll make sure.
Let me tell the story from my point of view.
I don't think you realized you said what you did. I remember
let me tell the story from my point of view. Moji and I were on a queue going through to enter the airport to go and board.
To go through immigration and then board.
So we were making content. The guy stops and says, am I in your video? Me, I was like, yeah, please see, I beg.
Because she was sure that
I didn't know Moji was filming. So when I noticed Moji's reaction, I noticed she was filming at the time. So when she kept holding back, the guy realized, of course, she was trying to delete something. So eventually she kept stalling and I was like, Sim, I wanted to distract the guy from Moji. See my own, so that she can have time to finish. So see my own. The guy never took my phone. He never said, no, I don't want your own.
The guy was speaking on me.
It's I want. So eventually, when of course there was no time, Moji now said, see. He now said, no, you've deleted it. It's in your bin. Open your bin. That's what I want to see. And then the next thing, the guy took Moji's phone and did not give it back to her. I knew that was going to be a problem because I've experienced something like that on another trip before. Not with me, with someone else, where the immigration officers actually said, you were rude. A friend of mine spent 1 month and a half in jail in the Netherlands because of issues like this as well. So because I knew the impact of what had happened, immediately he took her phone and gave it to the other woman. And I followed him and I'm like, please sir,
She was begging him.
And there was no way on earth I'm going to leave my friend in Uganda if anything happened. So I started begging. I threw my pride to the side. I said, I beg, sir, should I kneel down for you? I'll do whatever it takes. Because this man was adamant, and at that time,
being unnecessary.
No, you can't say unnecessarily, because at that time he had every right to do whatever he wanted to do. So me, I just wanted the situation to be doused. About 5 minutes later was when the security man came in. After I started begging and kept begging and kept begging. So because I kept begging, and Moji just stood to one side and didn't come. She didn't say anything.
Do you understand why? The guy was
great. He was going. Let me finish my own point of view. This is how I saw it. So after I kept begging for 5 minutes, and the person who is the one who is supposed to be the one coming to do the begging didn't move from the spot, I could understand why the guy got angrier, because at that point his male ego was at play. He just wanted someone to come and caress it, and the person who he was going to listen to was Moji, because it was Moji that had offended him. So in that instance, when the security guy that now came about 7 minutes later now saw what was happening and tried to enter the matter, I was like, oh no, let's not make this a public issue. So immediately I told to Moji, girl, come and apologize to this man and let's get out of here. What are we doing here? And there were lots of other people on the queue as well. That was when I turned to her, I'm like, girl, drop this thing and come and apologize and let us go. From my point of view. So Moji was like, no, Winifred, the man is not listening to me. No. The man can't listen to me. He's been there was one word she used. He's been irate. What was that English?
No.
What was that English?
But irate. Wait.
Let me tell you something.
I wish you guys.
What I told Moji at that point, that was not the time to speak English. That was not the time to say who is right and who is wrong. That was not the time to wait. Our flight was in 1 hour. Also remember this, our flight was in less than 1 hour.
No, and that man, more than an hour, but
that man had every right to seize her phone. At some point he took my passport.
So the guy was overdoing.
But he had every right to do it, and because of what he now started saying about how he can go into the immigration and put her name in the file,
that he will make sure you don't fly this airport again, they will ban you.
He could have easily done that. But so I now understood the repercussion. Remember my friend who spent over 1 month in detention in the Netherlands because he was just being heady as well. I said, girl, you better come and apologize and let's go out of here because you know that I can't leave you here. Whatever happens to you happens to me. That was why I turned to her, and I didn't mind at that time. And this is also where keeping your friends accountable in check comes into play. Because if I was the one doing that, I expected her to come and say, I beg, come and apologize and let's get out of here. So I didn't say come and apologize from a place of.
And I'm just saying that in that moment, the guy was in my head, like he had already said too many unnecessary things and was off. And then my friend, and you were begging him on, like, just massage, sorry. And then the guy was like, no, I'll deal with you. Guys, you will not fly. You will not. So I was like, okay, when he breathes a bit, I will now go and meet him.
But what she didn't actually know is that man was not going to breathe a bit. The only thing that was going to make him breathe a bit was her apology. I'm sorry, sir. She came and then said sorry. The other security man now told her, yeah, come and say sorry. And then the minute she said sorry, the man was like, he gave her the passport. It was like,
no, immediately he was still doing, who do you think you are? Well, you're more than this.
Yeah, he just went on and on, but eventually he gave her the passport. So no, the point I was trying to make is, I didn't turn at you and say, no, come and say sorry because
of course, you were trying to get us out of there because it could have turned to a bigger mess.
Because if you stay in Uganda, I can't leave you. And I will end up telling
go home and say
no. I feel like situations can easily be avoided if we just say, sir, okay, I know, I'm sorry, I'm your daughter, please forgive me, please, I apologize. Moji wasn't going to do it.
No, I just wanted him to calm down.
She wasn't interested.
No. I see. It's just like Nigeria. Some people you don't argue with. Just allow them have their just.
And to be honest, that experience, I was like, okay, I've never been in it before. I've only heard. I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to get out of this? If this thing escalates, who are we going to call? Me, I started thinking, okay, who are we going to call? Who's our friend in high places? Who are we going to call?
So, but until when I now came, you had a meeting. Okay, so you also had a meeting. So
yes!
You had a meeting. You were trying to go and
be on that meeting. Thank you so much.
You had a Zoom meeting.
Yes. I think that was it. So I needed to be on a meeting, and then this guy was delaying, and the meeting had already started, and they kept texting like, Winifred, are you joining in? Are you joining? I'm like, I'm almost at the lounge. But then we now met this delay, and I was like, we need to get out of here. So I begged this man. I almost even knelt down, but of course I didn't kneel down. Just so that the man would let us go. Moji refused to.
No, I didn't. I was holding on. That's why, I didn't say, sir, give me my phone. I didn't say a word.
Moji maintained her
demurity.
She was so...
No, I was just waiting.
Let me tell you something, If you were the one in the situation, and you were the one aggravated, and you saw how calm, nothing likes to teach you people that maintain your calm when someone is angry. That thing will pain them. That was exactly what happened. Moji didn't move an inch. She was like, "No, you are done."
There's something I want to say about. I won't say it on camera.
Say it. Say it.
Yeah, but when we got to the lounge, had a meeting, we sat there, we both didn't say anything to each other, but I was like, nah, we're not fighting.
Moji was so calm.
Then we did what we're leaving. We're not fighting, but I just felt some silence.
No, the reason I was silent was because I was on my meeting.
After the meeting, you did not talk to me.
No.
After the meeting, you did not talk to me, Sha.
Babe, how did we now get to, and you now did
just switch, and and then it was you, then all of a sudden you just switched and started making me like, what's happening? We have to do the video, and then I'm like, this girl loves me too much, but she will not be doing so.
Oh no, I wasn't cool. I promise you.
Maybe I thought you were
never
cool after the whole, because even when that woman made me unpack my box, I was so angry. Like, I don't think I told you about that experience. She
yes, you told me. Yes,
and she was like, pack up.
That got to her.
So I was so angry. So I just sat there.
But I promise you, for real.
I thought you were. After the immigration guy and the sniffing police. Okay.
Oh no, I understood what happened there. Imagine, I think I even told you that what was happening there was just male ego at play, and that man wanted to be appeased. So like that of course, that was, you didn't do anything to me now. No, so why would I be angry?
Just like, this girl did not apologize. I was apologizing.
Was my own behalf. No, I know that I had to.
But we had a good end to
but
the
it was
trip.
A beautiful trip.
The flight back home was
a beautiful trip. It was a beautiful trip. We had the shopping at the airport. Yes. She bought me stuff. She pampered me.
It's okay, I got you.
What was the highlight of, guys? The highlight of this trip for me, well, not the highlights. One of the highlights was when Moji and I got to the, I think, Ugandan airport. We're from Uganda to Nigeria, and then they had called us to come on board, but we're being eventually. The airline hostess had to come and call us from the lounge. Are you?
The pilot is waiting for you guys.
Now, this is where it gets interesting. You're supposed to be running to the airport. We're the ones keeping the whole plane waiting. We're supposed to be running with our heels, leg touching our head. Moji got to their stand, and because I'd already bragged and said, "Girl, you will not break my record of I've never been called at the airport before for being late."
Winifred, 1 year go and board.
But she has been called, so I was like, "Girl, you won't break my record." She was like, "You know what? I'm going to break that record." So she went to the public address system, picked the mic, and started screaming.
It didn't work.
It didn't work
until it worked. I pressed it, put it up. Then
she said, "Winifred, 1 year, your body has." I'm like, "Girl,
if you wanna go and board
the
now." She was rolling.
It will not work, my sister. Let's go.
This is a boarding call. Please proceed. We are waiting for you. The captain is waiting for only two.
I saw another side to Moji that day. In fact, when I posted that video on my stories on WhatsApp, a lot of my friends were like, they never would have thought that Moji was the kind of person. So I saw another side to her entirely. For me, that was one of the highlights of the trip. Like, she was so bold and fearless. I couldn't have done what she did. I won't even lie. So yeah, we eventually got on the plane. We now got our reel.
Yeah, we had a good.
Moji was begging for internet on the plane.
We wanted to make a post before we got there. Before we took off, sorry. There was we went to meet the air hostess as well. Okay, please give us business class flyers. Please give us they said they did not have their phones were off. I just saw one fine boy behind me. I'm like, okay, brushed my hair, all my shades. I'm like, excuse me, can I give us internet? We posted, we did
everything. It was a good trip. It was a good trip.
We had fun.
Yeah. So let's talk about the lessons in summary of everything. Like all these stories that we have told, right? The lessons that I personally want you people to pick from it is friendship has two sides, and having a girlfriend is actually equivalent, if not more. It's the same thing as having a boyfriend.
Being in a marriage.
I promise you, it's still the same thing as two individuals with two different personalities, two different emotions. We may be alike, we may share the same values, but we have different personalities. Moji's personality and mine are different. Moji is a total, and I got to know her better from this trip. Have it at the back of your mind, or even in front of your mind, that two girlfriends coming together, if you're sure you want to make it work, then you have to get ready for the work. There's a lot of work involved. Mental work, emotional work, physical work. Yeah. There's a lot of work involved. And don't run away from doing the work. Don't try to throw it under the carpet. As the issues are arising, deal with them immediately. This would actually help tighten the bond. As many people think that it would maybe make you apart. No.
And it depends on how mature you are. Yeah. Conversations are not supposed to. You're supposed to clear things, not to now dampen things and make it worse. No. Every time we spoke, in fact, from that first time, it was like we just started being friends all over. Like it was so fun, and I love that we spoke about it. And I was just like, what was I not crying? Like, what was wrong with me? You know, I was so angry at myself. But I like that we had the conflict, and then I like how we now resolved it. You know, it helped us to see ourselves better, see ourselves differently, and understand ourselves even better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the lesson is you can't avoid the hard parts, the hard stuff, the hard conversations. The hard situations is all part of the relationship. You see us,
my queen, my girl, my babe.
As much as we've had that moment, we've also had these hard moments we've explained. We've also had very deep emotional moments where I'm crying to her about things that hurt me, maybe I'm sharing past experiences and I'm crying to her. She's crying to me, talking to me about things that are very dear and personal to her. Same thing with this, it's all round. So be prepared. It's not when your friend is coming to you with emotional matters and you're like, I beg, this one is too much for me. Prepare for it. Prepare for the tears. Prepare for the emotions, the carrying of face, the being in the feelings. Prepare for all of those things, because those are the things that actually help tighten your bond. I tell you the truth, there's no way on earth that Moji and I have not become stronger than we were before we went on that trip. It's not possible.
And don't carry baggage from a previous friendship into a new friendship. That's because there's some things that would have happened. I'm like, you know what? This is why I like to be on my own. This is why I don't want to have any friends. This is why I don't.
That's a
calm down.
Relax.
Sometimes it's just a conversation that you need.
Yes.
And you have to see, friendships require vulnerability.
Sure.
Imagine me crying for that. Do you know how, I'm looking back, I'm like, why was I crying? What was wrong with you? But I had to let out how I was feeling.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to let go of the friendship. it's not something I want. I'm not letting her go in next 100 years or 200 years. You know,
it's a pact,
right? You know, but I said to myself that I'm not going to let it go. And I'm not going to let the hurt from, I've had friendship heartbreaks, a lot of it, right? I'm not going to let what happened in that friendship happen here.
Yeah.
I'm going to do things differently and hold this person dear to my heart. So even if I'm hurt, I will let her know that I don't like what you did here, and this is what I'm feeling. And even if she says, I'll say, no, this is how I'm feeling.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about it. I shy away from difficult conversations, but you can't keep shying away from it if you want your relationships, even if it's, you know, male, female, or female, female, male, male. If you want it to work, you must have those difficult conversations. It's not always the easiest. So it's hard because you're like, how would I be telling her how I felt? She would think I'm weak. You're not weak.
True.
Having those conversations does not make you weak. It makes you even stronger as a matter of fact. And forgiveness is a part. See, you know how they say marriage is two forgivers living together. It's the same thing with friendships. Two forgivers who have chosen to do life together. Pretty much. You must be, because I'm not perfect. She's not perfect. Right? So I cannot say I'm perfect and so she's the one that has the flaws. I have my flaws.
Yes.
She has her own flaws and she will learn. And I would also learn how to deal better with her and she will learn how to deal better with me. We'll compromise here and there and then still make it work. So
it's all about making it work. Finding the middle ground. First of all, you have to be sure that it's important to you. If it's important to you, then you go above and beyond to ensure that the friendship stays thriving. Do your parts. Drop the pride, drop the ego. This is your sister. Be sisters, right? Be sisters. Do what it takes. If it means you apologizing, crying, reporting her to her uncles and her I've already told her. If she tries me, I'm going to take a microphone and I'll blast it. I'll go on the internet. Guys, I'll go on live. People, I'm not living this life until everybody accepts. Guinness Book of Record will take me as the highest life.
Longest minutes spent on IG Live. But we're just saying this to let you know that, yes, the good parts will be there. We go to restaurants, we post pictures, we comment, we hype each other, we root for each other. I'm in a house, you know, she's supporting me, I'm supporting her. Beyond that, there'll be those moments where, you know, we have, you know, our heads will clash a bit just because we're humans after all. And so we have, like she said, different personalities. However, in the midst of that, don't always be quick to cut people off be quick to start posting friends are there for the day, or those funny quotes that you just, when you're having issues, when you start finding those applicable quotes that don't make sense in that matter, in that instance, right? Just instead swallow your pride.
Swallow it.
And remember why you became friends in the first place, and stay true to your friend. And, you know, just also humble yourself. It requires humility, forgiveness, tolerance, communication. Communicate. Open your mouth. When you assume something, say. And so actually, don't assume anything. If you feel a certain way, say it. So that she might not be thinking that way. You know, look at things that, you know, we learned about ourselves
just
here.
Talking about
I thought she was talking about me, like she's tired of the trip and me, you know, but she was just saying, the experience she had, not necessarily me. There I was in my feelings saying she's tired of me. So talk about it. Don't assume anything. You know, forgive, be humble, be vulnerable, love your friends. I mean, be genuine in your love towards your friend.
And just to talk about what Moji talked about, cutting people off, right? I think that the most important thing is just acknowledge and accept the fact that there will be times where you want to strangle this friend and throw her to the garbage. But always remember, think about the core of the person's personality. Is the core or the very essence of that person good for you, valuable to you? Try to separate your friend from their actions. Because sometimes people are exhibiting an act that's not in line with their person or the core of their person. And it's your responsibility as their friend to be able to differentiate between the two. Okay, this is just for now. This is not who she is. She may be going through something. So you must understand at that time, maybe she's going through a difficult time. Maybe she's going through an hormonal issue. Maybe it's her period. Maybe she's going through stress at work. So you have to be able to discern what the problem is and separate her from
like that. Let me just chip in. One day you called me that you then said, after I was done with the call, I thought I was masking my feelings. After I was done with the call, you then said to me, like, you were a bit cold, are you okay? She could have assumed different things. She could have just been in her head thinking all sorts of things, but she just sent me a message. And all that I was like, thank you for pointing it out, because I'm actually having a rough day and some things didn't work out, and you know, people disappointed, and then it's affecting my work. So she noticed that my voice was not my normal voice, and I was not my bubbly self, and then she messaged me. She wasn't assuming that maybe she's angry, maybe why she give me attitude? I beg, I don't want. You know, that's how we are. I beg. Talk about it.
I knew it wasn't who she was, and so I was like, "Are you fine? Is there anything bothering you?" And she explained.
And she then asked, "How can I help?" You know, again. So after asking, she was like, "Oh, how can I help?"
So so that's why that's what I was trying to say. Separates the person's actions from their character, from who they truly are, and the only way to know that is when you really know the core of this person. For me, with Moji is a good person. Whether she comes tomorrow and she does whatever she does in the spur of the moment, I know deep down that she's a good person with a good heart, who has deep love and reverence for God. When you meet a person who reveres and respects God, I promise you, that person will have righteousness in them. And everything they do, they will try to ensure that everything they do is within the tenets of that righteousness. So because I know she's someone who reveres God, who cares about God and things that concern Him, I know that she will not necessarily want to do anything that's out of the character of a child of God. And because of that, if she's doing anything I don't like in the moment, I'm like, no, that's not my friend. She's going through something. Let's deal with that thing. And then afterwards, we push that thing aside and continue the friendship. That's one big lesson that I have learned from being friends with her as well. Oh my God, I feel like I blocked out at the gym. This was so therapeutic though.
It was.
Girl, thank you for everything. For everything, like for real, like
always sisters, always friends. Let's stay real close till the end. Forgiving each other, letting love conquer. Always sisters, always friends. We hope you learned a thing or two. Let us know in the comment section what you feel about something.
I know this episode was so wholesome for me. Definitely. That's all we have for you.
That's all we have for you.
Thanks so much. Take care, family.
Bye.